السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. توحيدوسنة.com.
الحمد لله الذي هدى، والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى، خصوصا على سيد الرسل وخاتم الأنبياء وعلى آله وأصحابه الذين اجتبى. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون. نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة، ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون، نزلا من غفور رحيم. ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين. صدق الله العظيم. Continuing with our same subject of this series that we were talking about our ancestors. We were talking about Umar bin al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, and we were especially talking about Umar radiyallahu anhu's commitments to the Ummah and his hard working after he became Khalifatul Mu'mineen, and what type of life Umar radiyallahu anhu was spending, how was he taking care of the people once he was given the responsibility of the Ummah. We talked about Umar radiyallahu anhu going around in the streets of Medina Munawwara during the night time to see what's going on in Medina Munawwara and see what people are doing, how people are spending their nights. Of course, daytime he was going around in the marketplace and he's going from store to store. At every salah, he's taking attendance of the people in the masjid. And of course, attendance does not mean someone will be reading the names or someone will be standing at the doors. But Umar radiyallahu anhu would turn around and look at the people. By that look, he was able to recognize who's there and who's missing. And those who are missing, he would try to visit them. He would try to find out why they are missing. If he would find it a genuine reason, he would try to help them. And if he would find that it wasn't a genuine reason for leaving the jama'ah and doing salah at home, then Umar radiyallahu anhu would try to correct that person. Of course, this was the daytime. But even nighttime, Umar radiyallahu anhu going around in the streets of Medina Munawwara to make sure that everything that takes place in Medina Munawwara, even at night time, is all according to the Sharia of Islam. And the second thing is to find out if there is anyone who needs any help at night time, so Umar radiyallahu anhu can provide those people with that help. We talked about Umar radiyallahu anhu seeing a lady with her children, and the children were crying. And Umar radiyallahu anhu went to the tent and he asked them for the reason of crying. And the mother said because they do not have any food. And we talked about that in detail. There are many more incidents of that kind that we find in the history, in the biography of Umar bin al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. Some very interesting ones. And of course, that will be also a very small selection of those. And especially the ones that we can get some lessons from. We will go through them inshaAllah, to learn that type of lifestyle also from these khulafa. And we can realize that those of us who have been given any responsibility in this life. That responsibility does not mean that now we became better people. If we got any position in this world, the position means that now we got to serve people even more. And in a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidul Qawmi Khadimuhum. The leader of the people are not those who are elected by people to be the leaders, are not those who would go for voting and they will have a lot of votes, by whichever means they buy the votes. Those are not the leaders. The leaders of the people are Khadimuhum, those who serve them the most. Those people who serve the people, serve the Ummah the most, those are the leaders of the Ummah according to the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this was the rule given to Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, the guideline given to Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, that if you would like to be the leaders, then serve people. And if you are assigned to be the Amir, that simply means you are assigned the responsibility of everyone that's under you now. And you have to take care of all of those people and make sure that all of these people come on the straight path, and even when they have their own personal needs, you go and try to help them with those personal needs. It's a great responsibility to have all of these positions. We consider them very minor things. That was the reason that those people were running away from these positions, and we are running towards these positions. A big difference. They knew that it's a responsibility. We feel it's an honor. Once Umar bin al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, as he was going around in the streets of Medina Munawwarah, he heard some people in a house, and he heard them singing, having some music. Of course, how can Umar radiallahu anhu take that? That people in Medina Munawwarah, in the Khilafah of Umar radiallahu anhu, they are doing some of these haram things. Umar radiallahu anhu, first thing he went around the house to see if there is any way he can enter the house. After going around, taking a couple of rounds, he realized that there is only one way of entering the house. And that was through a window in the back of the house. He did not want to knock at the door because he wanted to see them with his own eyes doing whatever they were doing. And spending some moments over there, he realized that there are 3-4 men over there. It doesn't look like there is any women over there. 3-4 men who are singing and having music. Umar radiallahu anhu climbed the window and he went into the house through the window. And he had a lash in his hand. As soon as he left the lash to hit one of the people there, he said, Umar, wait a minute. What do you think you are doing? I said, what happened? You people are doing this haram. I won't allow anything like this in Medina Munawwarah or anywhere in the Islamic State. I won't accept none of these nonsense. He said, Umar, you have to realize that if we were doing something wrong, you cannot repeat the wrong, you cannot do another wrong thing. And you cannot allow yourself to do something that's against the Sharia because we were doing something against the Sharia. He said, what's that? He said, Umar, you have done 3 mistakes. You have done 3 mistakes. Number 1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran al-Kareem, لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم حتى تستأنسوا وتسلموا على أهلها. Do not enter anyone's home without having a permission and saying salam. You entered the home without any permission from us and without saying any salam to us. That's one mistake. The second one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا. Enter the houses from the doors. You entered from the window. And the third one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا. Do not spy on people and you are spying on us. It was a quality of Umar bin al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu that we always find in the hadith. كَانَ وَقَّافًا عِنْدَ كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. Although he knew that all of these reasons that this person is giving, they are not valid reasons. For Amirul Mu'mineen, he's allowed to go and see what people are doing. So that's not his fine. Amirul Mu'mineen is allowed to have this. He has to keep record of whatever people are doing. He has to know what's going on in the Ummah. But كَانَ وَقَّافًا عِنْدَ كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. Whenever anyone would recite any ayah of Quran al-Kareem, he used to just stop there. That's it. Then he won't try to make any excuses for himself. Although even if he would know that he's not right at this point, but he would just stop at that point. Later on he would call the person and try to explain to him that you were reciting the ayah at the wrong time. That was not the right time to recite that ayah, and you were misinterpreting the ayah, but at that time he would just stop there. As soon as that person recited these 3 ayahs, Umar radiallahu anhu left the hall, and he said, okay, I will see you people tomorrow then. At least he stopped there. At another occasion, Umar radiallahu anhu was going around. He saw some new clan that came to Medina Munawwara, and they were spending the night in tents. Umar radiallahu anhu went to Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu. Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu was one of those Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in who was considered the wealthiest Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. Just like Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu. So Umar radiallahu anhu went to Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu, knocked at his door and said, Abdul Rahman, I need you for tonight. What do you need, Amir al-Mu'mineen? He said, there is a clan that are spending the night outside of Medina there. So we have to go over there and spend the night with them so that we will take care of their belongings, because these people are sleeping. So we have to take care of these people, take care of their belongings. And here is the secret of Umar radiallahu anhu. He used to love Abdul Rahman bin Auf. Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu is really a good example for those of us who, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have blessed with wealth. He's an example for those. That whenever people are doing any good deed, you will see Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu ahead of all of those people in the front rows. His wealth, his earnings, his position in the community never stopped him from doing any kind of work. And imagine that Umar radiallahu anhu, after thinking of everyone in Medina Munawwara, he would select Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu to spend the night over there guarding those people. Many of us may not like that position of guarding some people who are sleeping and guarding their belongings. We might pay someone to do it, or assign some other people who will feel that they should be there, but not me. And here I must read a hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, those people who are doing ribat. And what does ribat means? Ribat means the same thing, guarding anything that belongs to Muslims. Masjid. People are hurting the masjid, or they're damaging the masjid, guarding that masjid. Guarding any Muslim property. Guarding a Muslim. Protecting Islam and Muslims and belongings of Islam and Muslims in any way is called ribat. Is one of the most virtuous things in Islam. We have to keep this in mind. One of the most virtuous things in Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, an eye that stayed open during the night time to guard any Muslim or the boundaries of the Islamic countries, that eye will never see the hellfire. It's haram for that eye to see the hellfire. It will never see it. And there are hundreds of hadiths about this. So both of them went and they started guarding those people's belongings. And they didn't know that these people are guarding them. Not even would go and mention it to them, here tonight we will be guarding you people. they did not want to mention those things. It's just like a sadaqah that has to be given with a hand, and even the other hand doesn't know that this person has given the sadaqah. Same way they were guarding those people without mentioning that term. During the night time, Umar radiallahu anhu heard a child crying. And of course the child was crying a lot, so he got worried. He went to that tent and he said to that mother who was awake, he said, why don't you go make your child go to sleep? She said, I'm crying. So he went back. And the child is still crying. And Umar radiallahu anhu went back to the same team. He says, please, do something for your child. If I can do something for you, tell me. What can I do for you? I'm willing to help in any way. Make your child go to sleep. Yeah, I'm trying to do that. And he went to her 3 or 4 times. And finally, he went to her and he said, I don't think you're a good mother. I don't think you know how to take care of your child. If this will continue, I will complain in the morning to Umar. She said, you're annoying me. Leave me alone, it's none of your business. And she doesn't know who she's talking to. Leave me alone and it's none of your business. So please tell me why your child is crying. She says, because Umar radiallahu anhu, who's Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he made the rules for the welfare, people used to get paid. Every person in the Ummah, every Muslim was getting some of the welfare. And he was giving everyone. From Baytul Mal. So she said, Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he made the rules for this welfare, it was such that those children who are still breastfeeding, they won't get anything. And after they will stop the breastfeeding, then they will get, as they will stay on regular food, then they will get the welfare. And for that reason, I'm trying to stop my children from breastfeeding and try to put him on regular food. How old is your child? She mentioned some months old. He said, go and give your child, breastfeed your child, and I will talk to Umar about you tomorrow. Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu says, in the morning, Umar radiallahu anhu went to the masjid. He was leading Salat al-Fajr. No one could hear the voice of Umar radiallahu anhu because of his cry. And he said, throughout the night and after Fajr, I always heard him saying to himself, Umar, you have killed so many Muslim children. Umar, you have killed so many Muslim children. Why did you make such a rule that mothers are forced to stop breastfeeding their children? And he made an announcement, and he made the amendment in the rules, in the laws, that from now on, every newborn child will get that welfare. We won't have to wait until he will stop breastfeeding. On another occasion, Umar radiallahu anhu was going around the streets of Medina Munawwara, and he hears a mother saying to her daughter, اخلط اللبن بالماء. Mix the milk with some water. So the daughter said, don't you know that Amir al-Mu'mineen have prevented us from doing that? We are not allowed to mix any more water with the milk, in the milk. And they used to do it, and the customers also knew that they're doing it. But Umar radiallahu anhu made a law that from now on no one is allowed to do it. So the daughter says that Amir al-Mu'mineen have stopped us from doing it. So she said, with the quantity that we mix, Amir al-Mu'mineen won't even know that we have mixed it. Go ahead and do it. And the daughter replied, if Amir al-Mu'mineen is not watching us, the Lord of Amir al-Mu'mineen is watching us. Rabbu Amir al-Mu'mineen yarana. The Lord of Amir al-Mu'mineen is watching us. What are we going to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment? Then what reason we had to disobey Amir al-Mu'mineen? Umar radiallahu anhu said to the person who was with him, his name was Aslam, He said to Aslam, mark this house. Keep a sign of this house. I want to come back to this home tomorrow. Aslam says, I didn't know why does Umar radiallahu anhu want to go back to that home next day. But I found out the next day that after Salat al-Fajr, Umar radiallahu anhu called all of his sons. He said, sons, I have something for you. If any of you wants to get married, I have a good daughter, good girl. And I am selecting that girl for whoever wants it, but I want one of you people to take that girl. So one of his children said, I will marry her. Or Amir al-Mu'mineen. So he went to them, he talked to them about it, and they arranged the marriage. We find later on, the fifth Khalifa, the person who's called the fifth Khalifa of Islam, Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi alayhi, was the great-grandson of the same family. This mother, that girl, was the great-grandmother of Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi alayhi. And here something, a very important point for us to remember. That Umar radiallahu anhu is telling us how to select girls and wives for ourselves and our children. Normally we find out she graduated, mashallah. So that's the most suitable girl for my son. Here Umar radiallahu anhu is telling us, look at these morals. Look at their deen. Look at their iman. Look at their fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will produce something that people will benefit from centuries to come. And this is what she produced. Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi alayhi. And of course, this is always a fact that we find it in the history, that children always, those people who did some great work for Islam, they were always the production of their mothers. We always find that their mothers were the ones who did something special for these children. And because of that, these children became something special in the world. And this is what we find throughout the history. This is why once a scholar was asked, how come we don't have people like Umar bin Abdul Aziz? How come we don't have people like Hassan Bisri rahmatullahi alayhi? Like those great scholars of the Islam, like Imam Ghazali rahmatullahi alayhi? So he replied, if we get mothers like their mothers, we will have children like those children also. The thing that we are missing is mothers like those. So we really need those type of mothers to have those type of people. And I was really amazed when long time back when I thought about this point, and I started going back to the history to see great scholars of Islam and how they brought up their starting of their life, how did they come into this field. We always find that all of those scholars, they had a big role that their mothers played in their life to change their lifestyle. In fact, we find many of them who had even lost their fathers at early age, and they were orphans. And mothers had single mothers, and mothers were the only people who were able to bring these children on that direction and put them in that direction and make them get something that even up to this day the Ummah is benefiting from those people. And we can very easily call the name of Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi as an example of this, who was blind in his early age. He was orphaned. Mothers crying day and night, praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give his eyesight back to him. And finally he got the eyesight back. She said, she says to her son, I did not ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you to get eyesight, to go and play now and see all the games in the world. I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this eyesight so that you can see the book of Allah, you can see the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Go to the masjid, spend your time in the masjid and become hafiz al-Quran. Once you learn Quran al-Kareem, she said, now go out. I don't want to see you until you go and memorize the books of hadith and ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Once you are done with that, then only come back home. Don't come back home without memorizing all the hadith that you can find among the scholars of this town. He went, he started studying and spending all of his time with those scholars in their homes, in the masajid, and finally he came back to his home. He said, "Ma'am, I have memorized all the books of Abdullah bin Mubarak rahmatullahi alayhi, who was considered Amirul Mu'mineen fil Hadith in the Ummah." She said, "Son, now we have one more thing to do. Now you have to go to Medina Munawwara. Go to Medina and Makkah. There are scholars over there. They also have some other hadith. Go and learn the hadith over there and don't come back home until you go to Medina, Yemen, and all the other countries. Wherever you find there is a scholar who knows some more hadith than you do, go and learn the hadith, then come back home." These were the types of mothers. This is what made him the type of person he was, and up to this time, the Ummah is benefiting from Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi. And same thing we find in the history of most of these great scholars of Islam who did a great service to you. So Umar radiallahu anhu, I was mentioning, he goes around in the streets of Medina Munawwara. He's trying to take care of the people at night time, find out what people are doing. And he used to say, if a goat will lose its way in Sham, he's sitting in Medina Munawwara, if any goat will lose its way in Sham and will not be able to go back home or will get hurt, on the day of judgment Allah will ask me, "Oh Umar, why didn't you prepare the path for her? And why didn't you make sure that she gets what she needs?" This is the type of Khilafah. This was his, we can say, the main theme of the Khilafah. Helping people, helping the Ummah, trying to get the maximum benefit possible to the Ummah. And for that he did anything possible he could in his life. One last incident, another very important lesson that Umar radiallahu anhu we learned from him. As he was going around the streets of Medina Munawwara, he heard a woman. She was reciting some poems. Those poems meant that I'm waiting for my husband, it has been a long time and I'm missing him. She is just reciting the poem. She doesn't know that someone is hearing her. Right away Umar radiallahu anhu went to his daughter, Hafsa radiallahu anha, who was al-Mu'mineen at the same time, the mother of the Mu'mineen. He asked her, "Hafsa, please tell me, for how long a woman can stay without a husband?" She said, 4 months, Amir al-Mu'mineen, not more than that. Not more than 4 months. Umar radiallahu anhu made it a rule in Medina, in Islam, that if anyone goes out for jihad, for any work of deen, is not allowed to stay out of his home for more than 4 months. Has to come back to his home after 4 months. And then if he has to go back, he can go back. But every 4 months, every mujahid and every servant of this deen, every person who's working for this deen has to go back to his home. And since then this became a rule in Sharia, or among the Ummah, that people who were out in jihad, they started sending them back every 4 months. They would go back to their homes. So these are some of the advantages that we get from Umar radiallahu anhu, who's going around in the streets of Medina Munawwara, watching what people are doing, finding out what people are doing over there, what are the needs of the people, and through that he was able to get us some beautiful rules in the Sharia, and those became the rules for Ummah to follow till the day of judgment. And this was his saying always. He used to say to himself and people around him that, remember, whatever we would do at this time, this will become a sunnah and a proof for people that will come till the day of judgment. Therefore, we have to make sure that we are very careful in taking any and every step we take in our life. And really, this is a fact, that whatever those people did at that time, and Umar radiallahu anhu took steps at that time, it became sunnah for people till the day of judgment. That's a proof for people that this is what Umar radiallahu anhu did, this is what Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in did at that time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to follow these steps of خلفاء الراشدين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of us to صراط المستقيم. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله.